Senate Bill 1310 did not make newspaper headlines and was not the lead story of any radio or television news report. But when Governor Tom Corbett signed it into law on Tuesday, June the 12th, nearly every working Pennsylvanian was impacted to some degree. State Representative Ron Miller, chairman of the House Labor and Industry Committee, was on hand to witness the signing and joined us to discuss what I think can safely be called, Representative, a landmark piece of legislation. Do you agree?
I absolutely agree. Very important for Pennsylvania employers, which means it's also important for Pennsylvania employees, those that are working in the Commonwealth. Basically, the system was insolvent. We were looking at a $4 billion loan from the federal government that the employers are on the hook to repay. Beginning in January of this year, Pennsylvania employers were starting to make an extra payment of $65 per employee. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it was going to increase every year and go from there. So it was something that had to be done so that we can offset those costs, reduce the cost to the employers, help them to keep employees, and hopefully hire some new employees in this economy.
Now, why is, or technically actually, why was the fund insolvent?
Because of the economy, we had so many people unemployed that the amount of money that's being brought in by the charge to employers to cover future costs for people that might lose their job. We borrowed so much money. We spent everything we had in that fund. And there were so many people unemployed that instead of not getting benefits, certain things kicked in. One thing that happens is we're able to borrow that money from the federal government. The second thing that can happen is people's benefits are reduced. And then the third thing is employees normally don't contribute to the unemployment fund, except for when the system is insolvent. And then it's a small amount, but there is a small amount that the employee contributes. So addressing the health of the system, the solvency of the system was very important.
You made a reference to this a few seconds ago, but during the news conference, your Senate counterpart, John Gordner, mentioned that the need for this bill really hit home on January 1st of this year. Why was that date such a big deal?
That's when we had to start repaying the federal government this money. We believe that we can float bonds at the state level, get a better interest rate than what the federal government is charging us, save employers money, help them to retain employees. If they're looking to hire people, the costs of the benefits and doing business with employees will not be that high. So we're very hopeful that this will help stimulate jobs in the economy. And it was very interesting because there was a nice banner behind us as the bill signing occurred yesterday, basically saying that unemployment compensation system reform equals jobs. And that's why this was very, very important to get this done.
Finally, the unemployment figures still are not good, and they obviously are not going to turn around overnight. What is now in place to keep us from having this happen again years down the road?
Well, basically there were changes made to the benefit calculation. There were changes made to how long a person has to work to prove that they have a connection to the workforce. There were so many changes that were made to address future solvency of the system. And that's really what this is all about, making sure that when people lose a job through no fault of their own, that we have a healthy system that can help them through the rough times, provide unemployment compensation benefits, and allow them to go out and look for a new job, but certainly protect their families, help them to pay the bills as they look for that new job. As you might remember, last year we had passed another piece of unemployment compensation reform legislation, and what that did is it required an active job search. So what we're trying to do is just get people back to work. And you know, if people are out there working, they pay taxes, they're not collecting from the unemployment system, we believe that we're on a track now to fix the solvency issue by the year 2019, which without this bill being passed and signed into law, this would have gone on for many, many more years, and depending on the speed of any economic recovery, could have drug on for decades. So it was a very important thing to do.
If you have questions about this or any other legislative topic, we'll show you Representative Miller's contact information in a few seconds. I'm Scott Little. Thanks for spending 5 minutes with State Representative Ron Miller.